what I'm going to do is a practice exercise that's from the Closet Factory Academy. So I'm just going to grab this so I have it on the same page. And we always start with a new wall. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a wall in here, just any size. And I'm just going to throw those notes in so I have the information I need for the closet. The measurements of the closet are 120 inches by 51 deep and 96 tall. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. 96 is set up. I like to try and get this name in soon. So this is the master. Now all the subsequent walls will have that on there. And I'm going to go ahead and finish my walls. Some of this is going to be a repeat for you guys, but I do appreciate you calling in because I think we're really just trying to get some standards in place for everybody. And I think the more you are reminded of things, the better your drawings will become. So I have 30 inches of long hanging that I need for one of the two people that are sharing this closet, and then 70 inches of short. So I'm going to start with that. And then I have some shoes on both sides of the closet that I'm going to be putting in. The remainder is going to be short hanging. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. When I'm pulling from the library on the right-hand side, so these are our libraries, the library that we are going to start using forward on new jobs, and Sarah, with your franchise, you'll be starting fresh with the most current library, is the Closet Factory Headquarters, February 2019. Now, we decided to do a stake in the ground for this library going forward because we made enough changes to the details of so many units. I wanted to make sure that we were truly all on the same page moving forward. So for a little while, you're going to have two of our main libraries. The libraries for the tag hardware and for the accessories are all the same as before. So you're fine with using those. And just so if you didn't already know this group 5 is actually the color group that you're going to be using when you initially start using the library. So it defaults right now to group 5, which is our white. Okay. So I'm going to make sure that I have the Closet Factory February 2019 because that's where I want to work from. I'm going to go ahead and take a long hanging, and I'm going to do, I need 30 inches. So all of our units do have the left and right side. If you look down here, you see the between the panels measurement, which kind of helps you make sure that you're getting the right number in there for between the panels. So you can see I have that here. So I'll go ahead and do that. And actually, I do want to make this 12 inches deep. And then I'm going to do the long hanging. I'm sorry, not the long hanging, double hanging. And I'm going to make that, what do I need, 35.75 to get one of those panels. I'll make my left side 0, and I'm going to do 12 inches. Here's where I can locate it. So right now I'm going from left side of the wall. And if I go to the right side of unit 1 to put in my unit, it's going to go exactly where I want it to. Now the remaining, I'll put in a couple of units, and how I like to do that is just, again, right of, and then I can finish it with the 17 inches, and I can copy that to the right of again. Now a fun trick is with your right mouse is to click on the units. If they're next to each other, you can do this. So these two units, I want to even them out. So I'm going to right click on them, right click in the white area, and if you do opening same width, then it will automatically even them out. So that's a nice time saver. I do want this section to be cut to fit, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that right now, put the notation in at the bottom. I'm going to select the unit number, and then this change unit information comes up. I'm going to go to my options now. The cut to fit is pretty close to the top. So I'm going to select that here. And then this unit will become a cut to fit unit, which means in production, the shelves are going to be a little bit longer so they can be cut on site. So I have those units set there. I'm going to come over. I needed shoes on either side. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to do actually the combo shoe shelves. Knowing the size of those shoes, 27 inches, I'll have 25.5, which will be adequate for both people in the closet to get their shoes in there. So on this side, I'm going to put that in. I do need to add some shoe shelves. I'm going to keep these at 16 inches deep. So I'm going to do 5 of those, 4 of those, and there is a fixed shelf in the middle. So I have 4 of the adjustable, a fixed shelf, and then 5 slanted. I'm going to select the option. This is where we're getting our slanted shoe shelf toe stops now. So they're all the way down at the bottom, and you do need to select these. There were too many options and choices and units to preset these, so you can see that I've selected. So please make sure that you select these. I'm going to go ahead and just do a note because I know in my notes eventually I'll have to do this. And then it reminds me that I've already taken care of the option. So that one is set. And then I can come down to my closet pieces. My best advice on understanding where all of these are is to just use the software, play around with it, see what the different units do, make up some closets. Also play around with this location. So again, the locate from is from the left side of the wall to the left side of the unit, and right to right is the opposite, right side of the wall. So if you hover, it'll explain it to you a little bit. And the same with here. You can go left of unit 5. You can center on the unit 5, or you can go right of unit 5. If you want to do the wall, so you want to center something on the wall, you're going to select here. So that is the place you would click the C, and it will center it on the wall. Okay. So those are some clues there. So I'm going to do connecting top and bottom, 12, 16 inches deep, and I should have those there. Oops, I overlapped them. Oh, I did the wrong thing. Okay, there you go. All right, then I'm going to go on over to the other side. I'm going to put that same unit in here. So I can do 12 inches, and I know if I go 12 inches here on the wall, it's going to go in the right location. And then my slanted shoe shelf, or my combo, 27. And location, I can do the right to right. So if I do right to right, it'll be the right side of the unit on the right side of the wall will be at 0. Should be okay. There you go. I'm going to add Michelle. 5 of those, 4 of those. And then I'm going to do my note and my option. You can be more efficient and select the option when you have it open and do all your changes at the right time as opposed to me. But just know and remember that your options for your shoe shelves toe stop is in options. All right, so I don't need this note anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and erase it. I do want to, though, on the top note that I did select the cut to fit on this one. All right. So now that I have the closet done, we can set the material that we want to draw or price and build this closet in. So that's an important thing to know, that this information is not only for pricing, but we're also passing this information along to production. So they have this information as we set it when they get the information. So one of the first things you really need to make sure of for the newest version, or the V7.0, is that we are now able to do countertops per room. So you can see that selection here in the drop downs up above. And we really want to make sure that your unit info type is set with the CT in there, which is for the countertops. So you would do the drop down, select that one to make sure you have the proper one for the newest version. We can do it by job or by room. By room, it'll give you a list of the rooms that you have, and then you would select that. If you have multiple rooms, you do need to deselect if you are choosing not to use that one you already selected it, so deselect as well. We're going to just do the entire job for this one. White melamine, I have no doors on this job. Of course, there's edge banding, rods. I'm just going to do the inset toe kick. There's no crown molding or backing. There are no drawers, so I'm going to make sure to specify that there are no drawers. The notches are for the back of the panel to go over molding. We typically do not do that in the factory. Some franchises do. So LA, we're not necessarily selecting information here. Handles, second material, countertop, everything else for this job does not need to be selected. In the next training, we'll do a little more detailed job, so we'll be selecting some of those. Once I hit set, you can see that the information changed. So now when I hit close and I save this job as a .job file and I send it into the factory, this information as I've selected it is now going to the factory. So I have set it and I'm going to close it. Now I'm ready to run a report. So I am going to, first of all, I just want to show you that this is a good way to make sure that all of your units are from the proper libraries. If I had some of the tag hardware libraries or some accessories, you would also see those listed here. I didn't put any accessories in this job, but we will be doing that at a later time, and we can look at it then. If you just want to price one wall, sometimes it'll let you, just select the ones that you want, and you can just price that wall if you're not sure. So that can be a pretty interesting feature to use if you need to, this client just wants to do one wall or something like that of a design that you did. Maybe that's jumping ahead a little bit. Anyway, what we want to do is select your pricing, your unit pricing method. So I always think of this as the method that I'm using. Now the countertops, it's just one selection. Eventually, all of these other options and your other pricing and a lot of the reports for the previous version are going to be removed. Sarah, you don't even have those, so that's good. But those of you who still have jobs that were done in the previous library, we're going to keep those until you feel comfortable and ready to remove them. So we'll probably be doing that over the next, I would say, 3 to 6 months. As you're ready, I can help you make that happen, just to clean that up. So you'll select all the countertops. I would recommend getting into a habit of always selecting it. That way you never miss a countertop, that one-off that you threw in somewhere. So you always have that. The unit price review is the first one that I always recommend you use. This one is going to be giving you the standard pricing. My version always pops up with a question. There is information on how to not have that pop up, and it might be a little video as well in the future. So you can see here then, I selected limited, and you can see I just selected the one wall, so I'm missing some of my units. So I'm going to go back actually and make sure I have everything. So that was kind of cool. You can see how that works. So I have a full room, and then I'm going to calculate it. So again, this is going to be for the standard pricing. So they all should be numbers that are in your head or pretty easy to calculate. There are opportunities to do designer upcharge. That's all behind the scene. Those upcharges would not show up on this report. So this is standard pricing. And you can see going through that 3/4 inch material, white melamine, flat match, and the pricing looks good. Wherever I have a 0, I just like to make sure it's something that I expected. So I have my toe kicks are 0s. Down here on unit number 4, you can see where we selected the cut to fit. That option has no cost to it, and there's no other notification as to that, but you do see that it was selected there. And then down on unit number 5, you do see that we selected the matching melamine toe stop. So you do want to go up above and make sure that your shoe shelves do show the correct information that you wanted. If it ever shows a shoe shelf with none, that means you forgot to set the toe stop material. And then we should have the second one down here. So here's that kick, and then that is 0. The pricing for the toe stop goes into the shelf. So this price here does include the $8 for the matching melamine material. Okay. The information for countertops, handles, and knobs, and if there's crown, it will show up here. That is a consolidated number for all of the jobs all of the rooms that you would have in a job. This one just has one room with none of those, so it's not showing there. But down below, you will have a summary of those per room. So here it shows, again, handles, crown, and the countertop, and you can see that all of those, nothing was selected for that. All right. This is your standard price, and a couple of things you can do with this now would be to save it. You can just save it, and it would save as an RTF file. It automatically just puts it in KCD, but you can go to a different area if you want to. I think I have this one. So we can just put it in here, and we can call it your price review, or whatever name you want to have it. It'll be an RTF file. And then when, let's say the next day you want to come back and look at it, you would hit recall price. And then you can go back to that area where you had it, and you can open that saved file. Unit price review. I obviously saved one earlier. Okay, so then you have that back. I'm going to jump out of here though, because I do want to make sure that my job header has been set for the client. So the first thing we all need to make sure is that in the company heading that we do have that set up properly. At LA, we do want to have closet factory in the first line, address of the factory in the second, an 800 number, and then the designer name, so your own name and your contact, best contact number. So my cell phone is in there. Please select the include date for your heading, and also use the custom heading of CFSTD heading 1. If you don't have this from the dropdown, please let me know and I'll help you remedy that situation. The next thing you need to do for each job, so that company heading will come up every time you print something. So that's automatic now. But the job heading is something you need to change for each job. I like, you can do the file and then, what was that, file and then job heading, or you can also just do Control N. I like to think of it as for the name of the client. So you can put the client name in here and the job address. And then you want to have the design date. So the designs were dated. I just did this today, so I'm going to put today's date in there. So this is a reference, a mark in the ground that this is when this was done. Just select the use main heading and don't worry about anything down below. but you can go ahead and click OK then. So then, if I wanted to do the unit price review and I'm ready to send it into the factory for my standard pricing, I would run that report. And then I can do a print. So this could save it as a PDF. I always like to check. Mine likes to make it A4 all the time, so I always have to go in here and check this. Your PDF program might be different. I also do a print preview, and then I can make sure that my client heading is in there, so the date and my information is there, and then all the pricing for the standard pricing is there as well. So then you would print that, it would save it as a PDF, and that would be unit. Okay, so now that is saved as a PDF, and I can send that into the factory. Okay, so then once we have that, the client is ready to purchase. I'm going to run a contract with full details. Anyway, so you'll see the breakdown here, and everything is here. What I'm going to do is I'll just run it again with a discount so you can see how that shows up. Contract. So let's say I sold the job, I did a 10% discount. I'm so used to just hitting OK on here. So the 10% discount, and I'll show you how that shows up on the contract. So then we have our materials, our depth, edge band, all the information that we need. It's very clear what they're getting and what they're not getting. There are 10 of the toe stops, and the color is there. And then you have the information on the price and the discount, and the breakdown is down below. Sarah, your franchise might break down differently, and there's instructions on how to change that in the report so you get it, the breakdown the way that you need it. And this information then can be printed as a PDF. Crazy. Okay, so we've got this saved, or we're going to print it. Let me do a preview. Now on my preview, I noticed I've got just one silly line on the next page. So what you can do, just so you know, at this point, when you have it here, you can edit it. So I would just want to remove a couple of lines so it does not run over into another page, because that doesn't make any sense to me. And the program is not smart enough to know that it should squeeze it up. So anyway, that should be good. Yes, so now I have it on one page. And then, hopefully it's just, no, it probably has a leftover page, doesn't it? Well, I think maybe I just, anyway, we'll figure it out. You can do some methods. And then we can print it. Yes. And you can save it somehow with just the one page and upload that one page. So this would be the contract that I'm saving as a PDF. And then you are going to upload that to EverSign to have the client sign off on that. So there we have it. Yay, just one page. Okay, so that's that. Then that can be, again, put up to EverSign. So now back to the drawing. So I have my reports. So now I want to make sure I get my notes in here. So in this, if you put a text in here, you can do a recall on a job's detail. And this is basically an outline. If you want to, you can always save your own version of this as long as it has all the pertinent information. But if you typically don't do white melamine, let's say you do MDF painted all day long, you can save this if you want to, and you just do save, and then you would set your own basically outline. You could call it a detailed outline or something, and that would be then with a baseline that you possibly use more than what's in here. But this has pretty much good information for my job here. No backing, oval, the toe kicks. I don't have any drawers in this one, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it. I don't need the design notes, but I do need to put in the note for the toe stop. So it's white. And it was tentacles. So again, the information that's on the top view is going to be for the full room. So I believe this was on the second floor, no elevator, drywall and carpet, and then standard closet preparation, no obstructions. Please look over this, read it, make sure it is appropriate for this closet. Don't just put it in there and not edit it. We're finding that to be the case, so please edit it appropriately for your closet. So what I do now typically is open it up, copy everything that's blue, and then go to my other walls. So I start with everything from the room, and what I do is just go through and delete everything that I don't need. So we don't repeat the room information on each wall. I don't have any of the toe stops here either. I have rods, backing, and this wall is only 12 inches. And I always make sure that it says the wall details. So now this information is only pertinent to the wall that we see here. So now I'll go and do the same thing on this wall. Delete everything that we don't need. I do need to have the toe stops. One clue on being able to find the center of your note when you come back to click on it to find that hot spot is when you save your note, make sure that your note ends actually at the bottom. If you have spaces below there, it becomes really difficult to find your note, the center of your note. So on this wall, I have 5 of those, and I have no rods. Backing. It is 16 inches deep. And now it's the wall. Now I happen to know that the last wall is exactly the same as this. So I am going to copy this and go over to my last wall and put this note in. And now I have everything for the notes. I have my notes. Yep, everything is ready. So now I can print the job. This is a great time to save it, actually. I would recommend that you save more than I've done here. So please do that. Okay, let's do this again. All right, so that's saved. And then we can do the printing of the job. This is a simple one with no doors or drawers, so we don't need to print it again behind the doors. I'm going to select all my active views. So these are typically the walls that have something on there. If you have a wall, like a return wall that only has a light switch on it, it's also going to print that one sometimes, so you want to check and make sure it's a valuable wall to print out. I like to do level 3. I do not show the unit numbers or codes. It makes it very messy. Landscape is great. And for the elevations, I like black and white. I'm just going to do a preview. And then when these print, you'll see that we have all of the detail for our notes on here. We can see our cut to fit section. And then on each of the wall, the pertinent information is there as well. And we have our notes for the installers so they know where the shoe shelves go. And that is it. You can then also save this one as a PDF. And then that can also go into the EverSign report. And I just want to review some of the new changes to the library and why we did like a brand new one. So some of the changes that we did were related to the basket units. When you open up a basket unit now, you'll be asked, you really need to select a basket finish choice, okay? So you would select one of these. Just to let you know, this information, opening 18, 24, or 30, that's what the opening needs to be. So this one right now is 16.5. I'm not going to be able to fit any of our baskets in there. So I would need to change this to 19.5, so I would have an 18-inch opening, okay? So that information is there to help you get the right thing, but please select a basket color. And same now with the wire basket, if you have the update that I sent out on March 6th, you'll have a tip out laundry as well. So this will price it appropriately if you put an individual basket in there. You do need to select the proper size for a laundry. If it's a different size, it's just going to price it as a basket and call it a basket, okay? And then your filler pieces now are all 3/4 inches deep. So this is really going with our, what you see in reality. So that's why there's 3/4 inches. You need to put it from the wall. If you have a 16-inch panel, you need to put it 15.25 inches from the wall. Okay, and yeah, you can use the angle too, we found out. So if you need it to be from the wall out as a filler, then you would angle it to 90 degrees and put it in the right spot. Then we have our, let me see, we broke out the closet accessories. So these are the standard ones. Each of those also will be selected with a finish. So these are for the hooks on the melamine tie and belt racks. And then also the same for these other items. You have to select a finish. The velvet drawers, now you're pulling those over, and in the next session, we'll work with these. But you now would actually select, that's just the bottom velvet. You would select the style on the custom and also the pre-designed jewelry inserts. So you would put those into your drawing that way. Then, let me see, there's a continuous top shelf. So the continuous top shelf, you can do up to 8 feet in length. And this would be the top shelf that you would put on top of Euro shelves for more stability or a deeper shelf. This is a non-ray fixed shelf, and it allows you also to put molding on it if you need to. So that would be the proper shelf to use for that. Let me see. So those were some of the changes that we made there. And then there were a lot of changes kind of behind the scenes on the pricing. With your options, let me show you. So the options we'll talk about in a subsequent training session. But let me show you some information that is always helpful to you. If you're new to KCD, please make sure that you have your shop standards set as we need them, and the information is listed here. Okay, so you would look at that folder, and shop standards are in change sets shop standards. So you would just make sure those numbers align and hit save as permanent standards. And then this information, so you know, is in your KCD folder. So you go to your C drive, KCD, there is a folder called Closet Factory Designers KCD Training Tools. And that's where you find the shop standards. You'll also find an options list, which just gives you the order of, of how the options are on that list. So you see shoe shelves are all the way down to the bottom, so slide all the way down. Scribe molding, if you need to add that to a closet, it's the first thing. And the cut to fit is down there a little bit. And then, you'll get used to where these are. But this is a cheat sheet if you want to print that out. And then, let me see, if you don't have your tag hardware libraries, the guide with the link to loading those is here, so please make sure you get those. And when we get to pricing, we'll talk about these pop-up windows and designer markups and how to work with those, as well as the overlay guide. And it's there for you. I think I've covered all of the things that I want. Let me just look at my list. Select finishes, unit price review. Yeah. Okay, so let me know. Charlotte, do you have a question?
I don't have any any one question. I have a few questions.
Sure.
So, when we do the dimension level 3, dimension level 3 shows a lot of dimensions on the elevations, including the drawers, along with the drawer faces. And I think that's a good thing to show. Is there a way to save the job using dimension level 3 with just the panel depth and not showing all the drawer faces and the separation of the rods vertically?
So you're thinking on the top view. Is that what you're thinking? Just on the top view? So you get
Yes,
the panel depth.
that's good.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happens when I send a design and let's say I saved a dimension level 3 in PDF or whatever to a client, it has so many numbers on it that becomes messy. So
Right, I agree. Okay, yeah. So yes, I agree. So there's a couple of ways that you can do it, and that's where the multi-print comes in. So this is it's a little above basic, but I think we can go over it. So there's this multi-print. What I do and I agree with you, sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. Here I would do level 3 on the top view. Okay.
correct.
And then
Yes.
and then you can add this drawing to multi-print. Okay. And then when you go to your walls, sorry, my GoToMeeting always covers stuff up and I can't see what I'm doing. Oops, sorry. Okay. So what I want to do is go to this wall. So when I go to an elevation, see, this is level 3. So now I want to go back to level 2. Okay. And then I can add this to multi-print and go to each wall. Okay. So it's a little more, you have to select each wall and put them all into the multi-print. And then you
That's
say,
a good idea. Okay. Thank you.
okay. But there's another, and then you would drag these over and then you would print it. So we'll go over that fully in another session. But there's
Yes, I
another
can
thing
see how you
can
would
do.
say it's like too much because adding to multi-print can be, but it's kind of nice. It looks good.
Yeah, but there's something that you can do, and you can do the unit dimension level. So this would just do it on one of the units. So if you pick one on a wall and you say, I just want to do it for this wall, I think you have to highlight it, dimensions, and then set unit dimension level info. What does it say? Right click on a number. Do I have to do it here? Sorry, I don't do it all the time. I just reminded myself. Here. Oh, I'm going to have to remind myself how to do it. I'm sorry. I should know that.
Oh, okay.
There's a way to do just one unit in more detail, and now I'm forgetting how to do it. Does anybody online remember how to do it? I don't think it's
That,
add
but
custom
that answers my
dimension.
question. That helps because when you're facing the elevations, the dimension level 3 gets really confusing sometimes for clients. But anyway,
Okay,
we don't have to worry about
I
that.
figured it out. Okay, so it told me, I actually read the information. Okay, so you highlight your unit that you want, and then you come over here in the white space and do a right click, and that same menu pops up. And down here, I can select level 3, and it will only do it for one of the units. Okay, and which makes it, just that unit a little busy, but not everything. But now I have 12 depth on this wall. And I can do it over here too. Like I can pick it on this one or something, and do it here too. So I could pick one unit on each wall that I need to have the depth on. So then once I have that done, so let's do one here, and let's do this one, level 3. And then when I do my just print jobs, my print drawings, then I can do select the active view and then preview. I'm sorry, let me do it again. You can see that I have it set at level 2, but what's going to show is for level 3 are some of those units, so we can at least get the depth on the wall. Okay, so you can see here it's 12 inches. So this wall is 12 inches and this one is 16. So this wall and this wall each have a dimension on it. Okay, but it's not every unit. So this one has, the full detail, but the other units don't.
I like that.
So it kind of gives you, so it gives you a little more detail, if that makes more sense for that job. So there's 2 different ways that you can show the more detail on the top level and less, dimensioning on the other levels. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. Are there any other questions out there? Darcy, Linda, Sarah, are there any questions that you have? You can unmute.
I have a question.
Yes, Darcy.
When you put in the shoe shelf, you said it had a fixed shelf in the middle. I was just wondering why.
It's just made that way. That's what we do. Usually, the shoe shelves are not adjustable, right? They're
Right.
fixed, and there's always like a shelf above it as like defining that section as the shoe shelf section. So the ones above it are adjustable.
So are we required to have that, or just?
If you use this unit, that's how it will
Right.
be built. Yes.
Okay, but
And you can see, the clues that you have to what's with what is, let me see, just zoom in here. So you can see that these all have a line. So that's an adjustable, right? And this one is going to be the fixed. And you can see that at the top and bottom too. And then like these panels are with this unit as opposed to the one next to it. So there's visual clues that you can use.
Okay, so it's not necessarily required, it just happens to be in that particular unit, the way it's designed.
That's in that unit, right?
Okay, all right, I was just curious.
Charlotte, did you have other questions too, or was that the main one? Or maybe she went somewhere else. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions?
No, I'm here. I didn't realize I was muted. I do have a question. I do have a question on, the RTF file. The RTF file, when you do your pricing and you convert it to an RTF file.
correct.
Okay, so when designers save it as an RTF file and send it to us in orders, everything is misaligned. However, when they send
Okay.
when they send it as a PDF and save it, everything is in alignment. So I don't know if it's something with our computer and what we're doing, but there's two ways that designers are sending it. And oftentimes when they do it as an RTF, the units and the pricing is kind of misaligned, like the spreadsheet gets crazy. I don't know what happens to
Right.
it. So it's
Well,
interesting.
here's what I would recommend is that the designer send a PDF.
Yes, that's best. Yes, that's
Yes.
true.
They
Okay.
really should be sending a PDF because then you're guaranteed to have the header on there, which has
Yes.
the job information and the designer information, where the RTF does not have that. So
Yes.
it really needs to
RTF
be that
is
they're
not-
sending in, right. That's just for me to save for a little bit. Like I did it, you know, I have a price.
Okay.
I know what it is, but I'm not ready to turn it in yet. But when I turn it in, it needs to be saved as a PDF. If the customer says, yeah, I'm going with that, I can pull it back up and save it as a PDF.
Thank you for the clarification on that. That was interesting.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So the other
if
thing
they send
is,
it to you as an RTF, send it back and tell them send it as a PDF.
okay, I will, because that does look so strange. So when we do, there's some options when we have unit numbers, there's options like jewelry drawers and belt racks and tie racks and tag hardware. Are there, what we pick handles from group 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on.
Right.
And there's not part numbers for the handles in KCD pricing, right? And there probably won't ever
we go by
be
group.
because there's too many.
Right. There's so
right?
many and they change. Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So here's some place. So this is, you know, a little more advanced, but I do think that, you know, we have the time and the questions out there. If you're doing the information, so let's just say even for, you'll notice here, okay, like with the contract, this is not a good job. It doesn't have handles, but let's just look at it anyway and pretend that there's handles on there.
Okay.
Again, I edited the job for just the spacing. You saw me do that. I can also just type in there something that I need to. So a good opportunity to use that ability would be with the handles. So if I have handles here, I can physically type in, you know, the part number, you know, whatever it is. Okay. So that would be available.
Oh, that's
you
fantastic.
to know what that is. Right.
Okay.
And then I can also do it for the finish. Let's say I have stained doors. You know, I want to do it in a different color. I would, it just stained or painted. Sometimes, you know, you might want to say painted green or whatever. So you can put the number, if there's a part number or a melamine to match to or whatever. This is where you want to write that.
Right.
As
So
well.
you can edit the contract.
We're not calling out the part, you know, the type. And it is on our, you know, number 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay,
so that's
good.
one way to do it. And then this would be saved and sent in with the job. So you would should be clear in the notes as well. If there's a countertop in the job, it should be in the, you know, the note detail as well, but it should be here too. And you'll see here that the post box, you know, this is listed, right? Your options are going to be here, you know, that you've selected. So you know, okay, they did select a cut to fit, and there's 10 of the white melamine toe stops. Is that good? Or
Okay.
is there a second part to your question, or?
No, that was perfect. Thank you.
Now, the only downside is that it's not saving it. Let's say you rerun, I didn't save this and I ran it. I have to retype this in. So it's always great to do it at the end, when you're ready to send in the contract for signature. Make sure it's in there and it's on your notes and things like that.
Okay.
Sarah, did you have a question? I saw that you unmuted for a minute.
No, I was no, I was just gonna say I was just sitting back absorbing everything.
Okay, good. And I'm sure you're just in that full on, like I said, fire hose.
Yeah, for real. Yeah,
Yeah.
I need to go there and play around, but I learned some handy little things, so that made some sense. So that's good.
Good. Okay. All right, great. Dorothy, do you have another question?
Yeah, it was a follow-up to what you and Charlotte were talking about just now. When you said you could save it as an RTF file, if you recall that, can you edit it? Or once you
Yes,
save it, you
because
can't change it?
No, you can, well, I don't know, let's see. So I've made the changes and I'm
Right,
not
that's what I
ready
was
yet.
wondering. Okay.
Yeah, so let's just try it. I'm going to save this in my document. And this is RTF. So we're going to save it. And then we're going to recall, and it should be there, it should be as I edited it. So, client.
Yeah, because I was thinking that might be a way that it would still be there and then you could
Yeah,
save it
yeah,
then
so
as a
the
PDF.
edits,
And
yeah,
can you
so
change
then
it?
the edits I made are there. Yep, and then you can do it as a PDF from here. I would.
Can
I
you
did a
can you
print
edit
PDF.
it again though at this point if you wanted to edit it again?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
if I want to get
excellent.
rid of what I had in
Okay.
there, and change to a different color or something like that.
Yeah, because sometimes
that.
when I'm doing a price review, I'll add in things that I can't put in the pricing, like a hamper or something, and then I can't save it.
Stop.
Stop.
What do you mean you can't put in a hamper? You can totally put in a hamper.
Where?
Oh, that is, I can't believe it. We're going to do that right now.
Okay, thank you.
That is in your accessories or in your tags. So there's a couple of places.
Oh, well, I want just the tilt out chrome one.
So that's a basket, right? Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know, Charlotte, would that be a basket? Would that be the same thing?
The tilt out hamper with chrome basket.
They're a different price.
The
One's
tilt out
85 and
hamper.
one's 75.
Okay, well, let's talk about those kind of accessories. We've got a few minutes left. Let's go ahead and jump in there. So you'll see here, closet accessories, and these are ones that we change. So your typical belt rack ballet, those things are, when you select them now, you'll pick a color. So there's chrome and brushed nickel on these. So you'll actually pick that now when you put these basic ones in, and these are the basic ones. Your drawer, your velvet liners, so this is the flat liner on the bottom, and then your jewelry inserts are here now. So you'll pick the style and you'll physically put it into the drawer.
Oh wow, that's
visual
cool.
cue that you have, and it also prices it, and it'll list it as an accessory, which is nice. So the things that you're talking about, Darcy, are going to be in your tag hardware. So your tag closet accessories. There's the tilt out bag. So there's tilt out 18-inch, 24 and 30. Okay.
No, the tilt
so
out. The tilt out hamper with the chrome basket.
Okay, so if it's the chrome, so that's basically a basket. So what you need to do there, Darcy, is you would go to a basket. These always fly by me. So you could do the tall basket if you want to have the unit. That's not a tip out. So what you want to do is you want to have it here. Take the wire basket, and then you can take the option. Actually, there's an option for the insert, for the laundry bag, and I would do those two.
Right. Well, that's why I wondered why the insert was there, but not the actual hamper, because the
you're
baskets are
actually
$85 and the hamper is
basket.
$95. The pricing's not the same though. It's, I guess, my concern.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you, I don't use that very much. I always use one of the other ones. So I can look into that. That would be just a little change to make it the instead of just a basket, that would be the tip out one. And you're saying that's 95. So that's something that I might need to update in the pricing for that.
Okay. Yeah, but that was
basically
why I
what
was
you're
saying
doing is
sometimes I'll type things in that I can't find, and that was just one of them, just as an example.
Okay.
So it's great to know now
what
if
you could
I
do is
save it
you
as an
could do the
RTF, I
80
can do that.
Right. But what you could do is, and you have to pick the correct height and depth for the basket, for the laundry basket.
Mhm.
But, for pricing, you could put the basket in there and then, say that it's the tip out is $10 more and just do the upcharge for the tip out,
Sure.
until I get it,
Okay.
fixed. So I'll make sure to update that. So we have the tip out wire basket.
Okay, great.
Hi, Kristen, do you have a question?
I do. I have not downloaded the 7.0 yet, so you have that in a previous email that I can just go back to and download it, correct?
Yes, so the email will take you to a link,
Okay.
which will have a file that file you need to download, and then it's a zip file. Once you get it on your computer, then you unzip it, and it will be just an exe file, and that you double click with your left mouse and it will run a program. Now it might say, oh, this is suspicious, we don't know who it's from. Sometimes you need to go and give a permission. So you need to say, it's okay, and or download anyway, or something like that. So you don't panic. There's no viruses. It's just a safety thing on that. So
Okay.
yeah, so once you do that, and then after that, I sent a little update. So you'll need to do the 7.0 and then the update from March 6th. Okay?
Okay,
And the same
perfect.
process for that. Follow the link and download it, unzip it, and double click on it.
Okay, great. I'm going to do that today. Thank you.
Okay, good. Did you have any other questions? Have you been using KCD?
No, it seemed pretty straightforward. I really need to do the KCD pricing, so I have not been doing that. I've been a little intimidated by it, but I'm going to start doing it.
Yeah, I understand that. I always say that there's a transition, especially if you've been, you're used to the spreadsheet or the digital pricing. It will get you to a place where you trust the KCD more, but there is a transition. Some people do price both, and then they're like, why is KCD different? And it's usually because the KCD is doing the exact square footage, where on doors you might round up or whatever, So what I like about it is you're no longer counting panels and shelves. And that's when I was checking jobs at first, to check, to verify the KCD pricing. I would get somebody's job and their pricing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I found that the reason why it was different is that they missed panels or they forgot shoe shelves, or, it was
Right.
that KCD was closer to what the price should have been than what the designer had done. So you'll learn to trust it.
Yeah, no, I understand that it is in the end more accurate. It's just scary. But I have a job that's pretty straightforward that I'm working on now, so I'm going to try it today after I download the 7.0.
Okay, good. All right. Sean, I see you asked a question about the cut to fit. So let me just open it up. There's 2 steps, and you said, how do we add it? Actually, I probably should have shown you guys that. Oh, there's a couple of things. Since you guys are still on the line, let's do this. So do you see on this wall, you can see the side panels from the other wall. And those are not physically on the wall. They're way out here. That's the panel that you see from unit 7. So what you do for this, I'll just do this, and then that'll make it easier for me to show you the cut to fit. So I'm going to get the wall, and I can now do more. And so this is the wall, and I want the bottom is set to 24 inches. It's typical of kitchens that you have 12 inches on the top and your base are 24. This wall is all 12 inches. So I can make this 12 and then say, okay, and that's just information. And then I don't see those panels from the other walls anymore. So I'm looking straight onto my wall. So to do the cut to fit, there's 2 things. First, you need to select the unit, and you go to the options. So cut to fit is selected in the options. And it's just a couple clicks down, and you'll just highlight that for that unit. And then once you do that, you do need to put your text in here that is cut to fit. So you put it there, and then on the top as well in that same section. Okay. I can't see anything full screen. I have to minimize stuff so I can see my, all right. So hopefully that helped. And yeah, then when you print out your drawings, you're going to see that full wall when you do that. So that's a nice trick to know. Do you guys have any other questions?
I don't. Thank you for all of your help with this.
Okay, good. Well, hopefully next week we'll continue on this, and you guys will build your confidence in KCD and you know, just feeling confident with the pricing as well. What's really great, I think, what I'm really trying to do, you know, all those forms that we have to do all the time, my goal would be to get as many of the forms to be taken care of in KCD. So as we move forward, as we continue to use this, and we're getting, you know, better at it and more consistent at it, we'll be dealing with that kind of stuff. So, and hopefully being able to give you guys just a faster process of not only selling it, pricing it, but getting all those forms in, because I experienced that and I want to try and solve that problem. So that's where we are with that. So as we continue forward, we'll start going over the doors and other information, and the power of the pricing in comparing jobs if you have one room with different finishes. And then we'll also talk about the reports and finishing everything up so we can turn it in to the client as well as the factory. Okay, so thank you.